Right now is a time of year where you can really separate yourself. You can separate yourself from other people, your competition, but you can also separate yourself from where you are, from the standards you've set. You can separate yourself from your current position to a new position in your relationships, your money, your body, your business, depending on the area that matters most to you. And so we're going to talk about that. You know, it's difficult when you're competing, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're an athlete, if somebody's ahead of you, it's difficult to catch them when they're at full speed. It just is. It's difficult. They're in front of you, they're running full speed and you're chasing them down. It's difficult to catch at those times. But where you do catch people is during what I call separation seasons. And these are the seasons where some people begin to flinch, they get weak, they take time off, they relax, they get casual about their routine. Maybe they're not as sure about their standards as they once were. And when they do that, they flinch, bam, you blow their doors off because you keep pushing and separate yourself during that time. You can separate from all kinds of different things. And again, I want to remind you, this isn't just about competing against other people. It's separating yourself from where you currently are, which is what all of you want to do. It's called growing. Growing is separating yourself from your current condition to the next level, whether that's mentally, emotionally, financially, as I've said. And so, but from an entrepreneur standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a family standpoint, nutrition, diet, we're entering the ultimate separation season, which is this window of time in the holidays. It kind of started around Thanksgiving, but it really begins to accelerate about the second, third week of December, when everybody starts taking time off. They start cooling it. They don't show up to work like they did if they're an entrepreneur. They're not really hustling. They start making all these excuses in their mind. Well, clients don't want to meet with me during the holidays, so I'm going to take a bunch of time off. Or everybody eats bad this time of year, so that's what I'm going to eat bad. Or everyone spends money during the holidays that they don't have. I'm going to do the same thing. And that's when they get weak, they flinch. And if you can get even more disciplined, more focused, you can begin to lap people that are in front of you. You know, we're coming down to the end of the year. There's just so many days left when you're hearing this at the end of the year. And it's a chance right now to lean in at the finish line in so many areas. But what do most people do? If it was full speed sprint all year, this is when they start to jog and slow down. And, you know, I should eat that extra piece of cake. I should do this. And they get off their game. I've said many times, in life, we really will never exceed what we believe we're worth. We just never will. And so if you can begin to do things you think other people aren't willing to do, or maybe do things the former you weren't willing to do, you begin to believe that the new you deserves things other people won't get, and the new you deserves to get things the former you didn't get either. And so this is why this season is so critical. And I've stacked up maybe 30 straight separation seasons. There's other ones. There's summertime, right? There's times like that. But right now is the big one. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone gets kind of casual. Everyone slows down. And one day turns into 3 days, turns into 4 days. You know, Christmas is a holiday. It's not a holiday. New Year's Eve is a holiday, not a holiday or a holiday week. But people keep taking these holiday weeks and holiday months this time of year. And it's when you get them. It's when this new version of you emerges. And so take advantage of this season. It's the greatest of all seasons. For you achievers, you want to separate this time of year. But there's a subtle thing that most people don't realize about themselves. If you're not a real competitive achiever type, maybe you're more of a belonger. I want you to hear me very closely, because there's a lot of people that fit both descriptions. You like being on the team. You like being a part of a squad. You like being part of a family environment. You're kind of that person who loves to be a part of something, but maybe not lead something. You have a really hard time doing the work this time of year because unconsciously, subconsciously, listen to me, you don't want to separate. You don't want to pull away from the pack. You love these people that you're around. And so unconsciously and subconsciously, you start slowing down as to not pull away, even though you know these things could pull you away from the pack, because you don't want to leave people. You like the people that you're around. You're kind of that person. So if you're that person, you got to evaluate that. Is there some element of you subconsciously or unconsciously who purposely doesn't do the things you know you should be doing to separate? Because you don't want to separate from where you currently are, and you don't want to separate from the group of people that you're around. And this is something that most people don't process. Let's talk about some basic places you could separate. Number one, let's talk about your fitness. This is the time of year where people start missing gym days, don't they? Don't they? But you right now are going to make a conscious decision. I don't miss my routine. In fact, I double up on my routine. I'm not going to miss workouts. I'm not going to miss my gym sessions. I'm not going to make any excuses about parties or you know, stay home orders. Now, if you've got COVID or something like that, obviously you're going to be working out at your home or push-ups or some nature like that. But you're not going to use COVID as an excuse not to train or work out. if you can go to a gym, if you live where you can still go to a gym, you're not going to use holidays or parties as a reason not to do that. You're going to let other people miss those workouts. Other people. The former you would have missed this workout. The former you would have made a COVID excuse. The separating you doesn't do that anymore, and that's going to produce a better version of you. So that's one place you could separate. Nutrition this time of year. You're going to have all kinds of temptation around you, aren't you, about eating foods you probably normally wouldn't eat. But what do? We go, well, it's Christmas. Of course I'm going to have it. But what if you could not, I'm not saying don't eat the dessert. But could you separate? What if you decided, I'm just going to do it a little bit different than everybody else because I want to convince me I'm doing things other people aren't willing to do. I'm going to convince me I'm different from the former me and from the people potentially that I want to pass up. There's two types of people listening to this. One of you is like, I'd really like to change me and get better than the former me. And then there's the other ones you're like, I want to do that and I want to smoke some people in life and business too. I'm competitive. Both are okay. But when it comes to eating, let's just say when those desserts present themselves, you know what I'm talking about, right? What if you just ate half the dessert? Maybe you're not so crazy you don't eat any desserts. You want to enjoy your life. The holidays are, eat half the piece of pie. It's the same flavor after the first 3 bites. That's what I found out. It's the same cake on the 5th bite it was on the 3rd bite, so I'll eat 3. It's the same taste. It's not that you don't want to eat it because you want to enjoy your life. What if you just ate half of it? Right? What if you were in portion control? That's a way to separate yourself. So it's little things like that. It's when you're at the gym, doing one more separates me. Remember that one more, right? And so, but when I was doing my abs, I had picked 3 exercises I was going to do. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's separation season. Everybody's just doing their normal ab workout. I'm going to do one more exercise on my abs for a 4th ab exercise set. Separation. Does that improve my abs? Maybe. But it improves the way I look at myself. And when I left that gym today, I did stuff the old me wouldn't do. And I did stuff most people working out there aren't willing to do. I deserve at 49 years old to have the body of my dreams. So I'm convincing myself through what I'm separating that I deserve those things. I'm not in competition with other 49-year-olds, but I'm in competition with the 48-year-old me. I want to be more fit. I want to feel stronger. I want to feel more powerful, more flexible, right? More energized than I did. And so these little separator steps, you stack them up, especially in the season when everyone else isn't doing it, and it magnifies. So it's important not only to do separation season, because I'm challenging you to do that, it's important to give yourself credit and be intentional about it when you do it. To go, I did it, and you're stacking that in the bank of changing you. They're deposits you're making. But if you're not aware of the deposit, imagine you went to a bank, you made $1,000 deposit in the bank, but you didn't get the deposit slip to prove that it was in there. You didn't do anything to validate the deposit, right? That could be concerning. Well, a lot of people do these separation things, but they don't get the deposit slip. They don't go, I did it. The deposit slip of life is acknowledging and giving yourself credit for doing the things that serve you that the old you wouldn't do or other people wouldn't do. So it's not enough just to do it. You have to be intentional about giving yourself the deposit slip, the credit that's required. That's what begins to change our identity. That's what begins to change our subconscious and unconscious mind, and eventually even our conscious thoughts. How about having some separation moments this year? How about some separation moments? What could you do this holiday season that's a moment that you've never had before? Think about, how can I separate my family from every other holiday we've had? How can we separate from the average ordinary families? What could we do this year? You know, many of you have been DMing saying, this is the first year ever I'm going to go down and I'm going to feed the homeless this year. And I want to take my children there. What an amazing way to separate this holiday from all the other ones if you've never done that before. Maybe your separations, you're going to go back to church. You haven't been to church in a long time. Maybe you can't physically go, so you're going to do it online. Maybe it's this holiday season, you're going to decide, hey guys, this is corny, but we're going to take a walk. Or this may sound silly, but I know how we don't always eat together every night, but for the next week, we're going to have dinner together every night at the dinner table. These things may seem very simple. I want you to begin to think about how you could separate that. Separation moments. I think if you begin to process this stuff of, I'm going to separate in every area I can, I think you're going to find something very special happening. See, you have to have a congruency between the way you move your body, your actions, and your thoughts. That validates them. That congruency changes you. But if you just think something and act the same way and don't separate from the former you, separate from the former thought, then eventually the body overtakes the mind. Your body is your unconscious mind. It's your subconscious mind. The thought is conscious. The body's your subconscious mind. So if you can begin to move your body in congruency with your thoughts, now you've created a new you. So I want all of your thoughts your vision, your paradigm, the matrix you start to see the world through starting right this moment. How can I separate? How can I separate? Separation from competition, separation from the former me. How can I separate my body, separate my mind, separate my family, separate my moments, separate my nutrition, separate my business, separate my money? Everyone's spending extra money? I ain't doing that this year. I'm separating. Everyone overeats? I ain't doing that this year. Everybody cools their workouts? I ain't doing that this year, right? All of these things begin to be catalysts for change. And you stack up all these inches, and this time next year, there's a different woman standing there. There's a different man standing there. It won't be perfect. There'll be things you need to do then to separate from that person. But I want you to remember this lastly. We're not separating from where we are because there's something wrong with us. That's not the reason. You're exactly the way you're supposed to be because that's exactly who you are right now. All you can do is start from where you are, one day at a time, one more at a time, and separate. And guess what? In a year, you'll be exactly the woman or man you're supposed to be at that time. And we'll be talking about separating from there as well. That's the journey of life. We're either growing or we're dying, right? And I want you to grow. And we grow by separating.